It's a perfect Saturday afternoon in Willow Creek Estates, the kind I've been dreaming of since I signed the papers on this house. My first, my own, a little brick ranch I've poured my savings into. I'm James Davis, and today's special. My family's finally here, Mom, Dad, my sister, her kids, all of us together after months apart, scattered by jobs and life. The backyard's alive with laughter, the grill sizzling with burgers and hot dogs, smoke curling up into a clear blue sky. The kids are chasing each other, my dad's cracking his usual bad jokes, and I'm flipping patties, feeling like I've finally got something solid under my feet. This is it, home, family, a barbecue to christen it all. Then I hear the gate creak. I turn, spatula in hand, and there she is, Eleanor Thompson, HOA president, striding in like she owns my yard. She's all sharp edges, clipped hair, clipboard clutched tight, lips pursed like she's tasted something sour. "James," she says, loud enough to hush the chatter, "these people need to leave." I blink, caught off guard. "What people?" I ask, though I know damn well she means my family, still laughing behind me. "They're unregistered visitors," she snaps, tapping that clipboard like it's law. "HOA rules, no unapproved guests. You didn't file the forms." I set the spatula down slow, feeling the heat rise, not from the grill but from her nerve. "Eleanor," I say, keeping my voice even, "this is my family, my parents, my sister, my nieces and nephew. It's a barbecue, not a convention." She doesn't budge, just narrows her eyes. "Rules are rules, James. They're not on the bar list. They don't belong here. Get them out or I'll escalate this." Escalate? My mum's holding a lemonade, my dad's mid-story, and she's acting like they're trespassers on my property. The kids stop running, staring now, and I feel it, the joy leaking out of this day, replaced by something hard and cold. I've worked too long, fought too hard for this house, this moment, to let her stomp in and ruin it. This isn't just a barbecue anymore. It's a line in the sand. Standing in my backyard with the grill still popping behind me, my family's laughter choked off by Eleanor Thompson's clipboard-waving intrusion. She's glaring at me, HOA president in full dictator mode, demanding my parents, my sister, my little nieces and nephew leave because they're unregistered visitors. I'm trying to wrap my head around this, my spatula's still in my hand, grease dripping onto the grass, when she doubles down, like she's been waiting to drop the hammer. "It's policy," she says, voice clipped and smug. "All visitors must be registered with the HOA 72 hours in advance. Bylaw 312, page 47 of the covenant, you should have read it." I just stare at her, my jaw hanging somewhere near my knees. 72 hours. For my family? I can feel the heat creeping up my neck, and it's not from the August sun. "Eleanor," I say, slow, like I'm talking to someone who's lost it. "Nobody told me about this when I bought the place. Not the realtor, not the closing guy. No one. I'm racking my brain. Those endless stacks of papers I signed, the late-night coffee keeping me awake to get through them. And I'd remember something this insane. Register my mom 3 days ahead like she's booking a hotel? It's my house, my yard, my damn barbecue, and she's acting like I need her permission to hug my own dad. She doesn't flinch, just flips that clipboard page and shoves it at me. Tiny print, line after line of nonsense, her finger jabbing at Bylaw 312. "It's right here," she snaps, like I'm the idiot for not memorizing a 50-page rule book. I didn't even know I'd need a lawyer to decode. Ignorance isn't an excuse, James. This is Willow Creek Estates. Standards matter. Standards? My sister's holding my niece's hand, looking confused. My dad's gone quiet. Mid-joke, and this woman's preaching about standards while she's crashing my family reunion. I'm shocked, flat out floored. Not just by the rule, but by the gall of her standing there on my grass, trying to run my life like some petty queen. This isn't about bylaws. It's about control, and I'm not swallowing it. Not today, not ever. Still reeling in my backyard at Willow Creek Estates, Eleanor Thompson's clipboard practically shoved in my face as she spouts her 72-hour visitor rule, Bylaw 312, page 47, like it's gospel. My barbecue's turning into a battlefield. My family frozen behind me, and I'm about to snap when my dad steps forward. Judge William Davis, retired federal judge, silver hair, steady as a rock, puts a hand on my shoulder, calm as you please, and fixes Eleanor with that look I've seen him use in courtrooms. The air shifts, even the grill seems to quiet down. "Hold on a minute," he says, voice low but firm, cutting through her smugness like a blade. "Let's talk about this." Eleanor blinks, thrown off, but Dad doesn't wait for her to regroup. "You're telling me an HOA can restrict family visits on private property," he says. Not a question, just a fact he's laying out. "I'd like to see the legal precedent for that, chapter and verse, not some bylaw scribbled in your handbook. Show me where the law says you can tell my son who he can have in his own home." He's not loud, not angry, just that steady, judge tone that makes you feel the weight of every word. My sister's jaw drops a little. The kids peek out from behind her, and I'm standing there, half stunned, half proud, watching him dismantle her with reason. Eleanor falters. Her clipboard dips, her mouth opens, then shuts. It's in the covenant," she stammers, clutching at it like a lifeline, but Dad's not buying it. "A covenant's not a court ruling," he says, calm still, relentless. "HOAs have limits. Private property rights trump petty rules, unless you've got case law saying otherwise, do you?" She doesn't. I can see it in her eyes, the way they dart, the way her fingers tighten on that page. She backtracks, just a hair. "Well, it's about maintaining order, Judge Davis," but then digs in again. "James still has to follow the rules. Everyone does." Her voice is thinner now, less sure, but she's clinging to her throne, even as it wobbles. I feel a grin tugging at me, watching her squirm under Dad's quiet authority. My barbecue's still smoking, my family's still here, and now it's not just me against her, it's us, with a federal judge calling her bluff. She's not used to this, not used to someone who knows the game better than she does. I'm not just some new homeowner anymore. I've got backup, and it's shifting the ground under her feet. This isn't over, but damn, it feels good to see her sweat. Still buzzing from that backyard showdown where my dad, Judge William Davis, put Eleanor Thompson in her place. Calmly, legally, beautifully. The barbecue ended on a high note, my family laughing again, the grill cooling as we savored the win. I thought maybe, just maybe, she'd back off after getting schooled like that. Wrong. A couple days later, I'm stepping out to grab the mail when I see it. A crisp, official-looking envelope taped to my front door. My gut twists before I even open it. It's a formal written warning from the HOA. 3 violations listed in coal black ink. Unregistered visitors, excessive noise, and unauthorized open flame. Excessive noise, unauthorized flame. It was a damn barbecue, not a rock concert or a bonfire. But there's Eleanor's signature, bold and jagged, like she enjoyed every stroke. I'm pacing my kitchen, the paper crumpled in my fist, when I spot something else in the mailbox. A flyer for the HOA's 4th of July celebration. Glossy, bright, and right there at the top, Grand Marshal Eleanor Thompson. Her face beams out, smug and untouchable, like she's the queen of Willow Creek Estates. Grand Marshal. This isn't just a title. It's a flex, a neon sign. Of her power, unchecked and flaunted for all to see. My dad's words, private property rights, legal precedent, echo in my head, but this flyer's telling me she doesn't care. She's not shaken. She's doubling down, parading her control while I'm stuck with warnings for hosting my own family. It's a slap, and it stings. What I don't know yet, what I can't see, is that Eleanor's already plotting, wheels turning behind that pinched smile of hers. I'm out here fuming over paper cuts, thinking it's just petty retaliation, but she's in her office somewhere, scheming something bigger. My house, my first home, my pride, feels less mine every second, like she's tightening a noose. I didn't even notice. The barbecue was a spark. This is her fanning it into a fire, and I'm starting to feel the heat. She's not done with me, not by a long shot, and I'm realizing this fight's just getting started. So it's my birthday. Nothing big, just another trip around the sun, and I'm James Davis, kicking back in my Willow Creek Estates home, still simmering over Eleanor Thompson's written warning, and that 4th of July flyer with her smug face plastered on it. I've been keeping my head down, grilling solo, trying to dodge her radar after that barbecue clash. Then my doorbell rings, and I open it to the best surprise. My parents, Mom with a homemade cake, Dad grinning wide, Judge William Davis, my rock, here to celebrate me. "Happy birthday, son," he says, clapping my shoulder, and for a minute I feel whole again. My house, my family, a moment she can't touch. I'm wrong. We're barely inside, cake still in its tin, candles unlit, when there's a sharp knock. I open the door, and it's Eleanor, flanked by 2 HOA board cronies, stiff suits, stern faces, her clipboard posse. "James," she starts, voice dripping with that fake authority. "Unregistered visitors again? This is getting old." Mom's holding the cake, bewildered, and Dad's smile fades fast. "It's his birthday," Mom says, soft but firm, like that should explain it. Eleanor doesn't blink. "Doesn't matter. Rules are rules. 72 hours notice. You're $500 for this violation. $500 for my parents showing up with a cake? I'm stunned, my jaw locked, feeling the air suck out of my own damn house. Dad steps up, calm but cold, that judge's steel in his spine. "Eleanor," he says, voice steady as granite, "I'd like to see the exact bylaw, word for word, that lets you fine my son for us walking through his door." "Show me!" She hesitates, just a flicker, but I catch it. Her clipboard wavers. "It's bylaw 312. She snaps, flipping to it, shoving the page at him like it's a weapon. Dad takes it, scans it slow, his eyes narrowing. "This says, unapproved gatherings," he says, calm but cutting. "2 parents with a cake isn't a gathering, it's a visit. Where's the precedent for fining family on private property? I'll wait." The board members shift, uneasy, but Eleanor doubles down, chin up. "It's an enforceable rule, Judge Davis. He pays, or it escalates." I'm standing there, birthday ruined, my parents caught in her crosshairs, and Dad's staring her down like he's back on the bench. He smells it, abuse of power reeking from her petty fine, and I feel it too, hotter now, burning through the shock. This isn't about rules, it's about her flexing, punishing me for daring to challenge her. My house, my day, my family, $500. To breathe in my own space? Dad hands the paper back, eyes locked on hers. "This won't hold up," he says, quiet but sure. "You're overreaching." She smirks, but it's thin, cracking, and I know this fight's not done. They leave, cake uneaten, fine unpaid, and I'm left with a fire in me she's only stoked higher. Still fuming in my Willow Creek Estates kitchen after Eleanor and her HOA goons crashed my birthday, slapped me with a $500 fine for my parents' surprise visit, and got a calm but deadly dressing down from my dad, Judge William Davis. The cakes, still sitting there uneaten, a sad little symbol of her latest power trip. I'm pacing, replaying Dad's challenge. This won't hold up when my neighbor Sam knocks on the back door. He's an older guy, wiry, been here forever, always tinkering with his truck. "Saw the circus yesterday," he says, leaning in, voice low like he's sharing a secret. "You okay?" I nod, tight, and he steps closer. "Listen, James, this crap with Eleanor, it wasn't always like this." I stop pacing, lean against the counter, and he spills it. Before she took over as president, the HOA was chill dues. For the pool, maybe a nudge about grass height, but nothing like this visitor nonsense, he says, eyes sharp. That 72-hour rule, She dug it up from some dusty corner of the Covenant after she got the gavel, started enforcing it like a dictator. You're not the first she's hit. My ears perk up, and he keeps going. The Garretts down the street. They challenged her last year over a fence height thing. Next week they're drowning in violations, garbage can placement, landscaping infractions, fines piling up till they caved. Sound familiar? I feel a chill. Not just anger now, but something colder, clearer. This isn't random. It's a pattern. Sam's words hit like a brick. She's running this place like her personal fiefdom, he adds, shaking his head. Harasses anyone who steps out of line, turns rules into weapons. You and your dad rattled her, and now you're on her list. I'm quiet, processing. My barbecue, my birthday, those petty warnings and fines. It's not about order. It's about control, corruption dressed up as bylaws. The Garretts got garbage violations. I got a $500 slap for a cake. Eleanor's not just a busybody. She's a bully with a title, and I'm seeing the HOA for what it is under her, a racket, picking off anyone who dares to question her crown. My hands clench. Dad sensed the overreach, but this is dirtier, deeper, and I'm not letting it slide. Still chewing on Sam's bombshell about Eleanor Thompson's corrupt HOA reign, how she's weaponized rules to harass anyone who crosses her, like the Garretts, and now me. My birthday, fines still burning a hole in my pocket, unpaid, and Dad's words, "This won't hold up," are clashing with the reality Sam laid out. She's not just petty, she's ruthless. I'm out front checking the mail a few days later when I find it. An envelope, no stamp, no address, just my name scrawled in jagged ink. I rip it open, and there's a single line on a torn scrap. Don't fight them. They always win. My stomach drops. No signature, no clue who sent it, just a warning, cold and anonymous, sitting heavy in my hand. I'm still staring at it, the words looping in my head when my phone buzzes. An unknown number. The text is short, sharp. Attend the HOA meeting tomorrow if you want to stay in good standing. Good standing. I've got a $500 fine for my parents, violations piling up from a barbecue, and now this, cryptic threats creeping into my life like shadows. I look around. Quiet streets, manicured lawns, Willow Creek Estates, picture perfect on the outside, but it's suffocating me. Who's they? Eleanor? Her board? Some scared neighbor she's got under her thumb? My hands shake, not from fear, not yet, but from the realization sinking in. This isn't a neighborhood anymore. It's a dictatorship, and I'm the latest target. I sit on my porch, that note crumpled in my fist, the text glowing on my screen, and it hits me hard. This place, my first home, my fresh start, feels like a cage. Sam's story about the Garrett's echoes. Challenge her and she doesn't just fine you, she buries you. The barbecue, the birthday, now this. It's not random, it's a campaign. And these warnings are her flexing, letting me know she's watching, waiting. My dad's a judge, yeah, but out here under her rules, I'm starting to wonder what I'm up against. This isn't about bylaws anymore. It's about power, and she's tightening the screws. I've got a choice coming, fold or fight, and the air's getting thinner either way. Still rattled from those anonymous threats. Don't fight them, attend the meeting, haunting my mailbox and phone. Willow Creek Estates is closing in, Eleanor Thompson's HOA grip tightening, but I'm holding steady, trying to figure my next move. Then it happens. My sister, Lisa, who's been staying with me a few days, doubles over in my living room, clutching her belly. She's pregnant, not due for weeks, but her face goes pale, her breathing sharp. "James," she gasps, "it's too early, the baby's coming." My heart's in my throat, premature labor, no warning, and I'm grabbing my keys, yelling, "Hang on, I'm getting you to the hospital." I scoop her up, stumble out the door, and freeze. There's a black SUV parked smack across my driveway, blocking me in. Eleanor's standing there, arms crossed, her HOA cronies hovering like vultures. "Where you going, James?" she calls, voice icy, like this is some routine check. I'm sweating, Lisa moaning in my arms, and I shout, "Move your damn car! My sister's in labor." She doesn't budge, just tilts her head, smirking. "An emergency, huh? I'll need a doctor's note to confirm that. HOA policy for exceptions." A doctor's note. My sister's gasping, her hands gripping me, and this woman's playing gatekeeper with a clipboard while time's slipping away. "She's having a baby now!" I roar, stepping forward, but the SUV stays put, a wall between us and help. I must, dialing 911 with one hand, holding Lisa with the other, my voice cracking as I beg the operator, "Hurry! She's in labor and they've blocked my drive." Eleanor's still standing there, unmoved, her cronies shifting but silent, like they're scared to cross her. Minutes drag, Lisa's cries cutting through me, until I hear sirens. Paramedics screech up, but they can't pull in. The SUV's in the way. They jump out, stretcher rattling, and have to push it around Eleanor's car, weaving through my yard while she watches, stone-faced. "This is on you if anything goes wrong," I snarl at her, handing Lisa off, her face twisted in pain. The medics load her up, sirens wailing as they peel out, and I'm left there, shaking, staring at Eleanor. Her power trip just risked my sister's life, my niece or nephew's life, for a damn note. I'm beyond anger now. It's white hot, searing through me. This isn't just fines or warnings. It's a line crossed, a family emergency turned into her sick game. My home, my sister, my blood. Eleanor's made it clear she'll stop at nothing to flex her control. The paramedics are gone, but I'm still here, fists clenched, knowing this fight's hit a point of no return. Still shaking from that nightmare in my driveway, Eleanor Thompson and her HOA goons blocking me, while my sister Lisa went into premature labor, paramedics dodging their damn SUV to save her. She's in the hospital now, stable, thank God, with a tiny baby girl fighting in the NICU, and I'm a mess, pacing my living room, fury and fear churning in my gut. Dad's there too, Judge William Davis, sitting at my kitchen table, calm as ever, but his eyes are steel. "This ends now, James," he says, voice low and final. I'm digging into them. He's not just my dad anymore. He's a federal judge smelling blood, and Eleanor's about to find out what that means. He gets to work, calls in favors, pulls records, spends days poring over Willow Creek Estate's HOA files like it's a case he's trying. I'm hovering, handing him coffee, when he looks up, face grim but lit with that gotcha spark. "They're cooked," he says, spreading papers across the table. First bomb, the HOA bylaws, the ones Eleanor's been wielding like a club, were never properly filed with the county. "Legally, they're unenforceable," Dad explains, tapping a blank where the notary stamp should be. "She's been fining you under rules that don't exist in the eyes of the law." My jaw drops. $500 for Lisa, the barbecue violations, all built on sand. Then it gets dirtier. Dad flips to a stack of official docs, letters, fines, notices, all signed Eleanor Thompson, HOA president. Except he digs deeper and finds she faked it. "She wasn't elected," he says, showing me a forged ballot from 2 years back. "She bullied her way in, used a false title, illegal as hell." I'm reeling, but he's not done. The kicker. Martin Greenberg, her VP crony, the guy who stood by while she blocked my drive. He's been rigging the game too. Dad pulls financials. Martin's got exclusive HOA landscaping contracts, charging triple the going rate, pocketing the difference while the board rubber stamps it. Fraud, plain and simple, Dad says, leaning back. They're a racket, not an HOA. I'm staring at the mess, unfiled bylaws, fake titles, kickbacks, and it clicks. Eleanor's not just a control freak, she's a crook, and Martin's her partner in grime. My barbecue, Lisa's emergency, the threats, it's all part of their scam, targeting me to keep the lid on their hustle. Dad's already drafting notes, muttering about statutes and penalties, and I feel it, a fire reigniting. They've messed with my family, my home, But now we've got the dirt to bury them. This isn't just my fight anymore, it's justice, and Dad's handing me the shovel. Sitting on a powder keg in Willow Creek Estates, my dad, Judge William Davis, having just cracked open the HOA's filthy secrets, unfiled bylaws, Eleanor's fake title, Martin's landscaping scam. I'm still raw from Lisa's hospital dash. Her, baby girl's hanging on in the NICU, and Dad's piling up evidence to bury these crooks. I think we've got the upper hand, that they'll back off once they smell the heat. Then I get the letter, slipped under my door, HOA letterhead bold, and official. Effective immediately, all members of the Davis family are banned from entering Willow Creek Estates as visitors. Violation will result in legal action. My whole family, Mom, Dad, Lisa, the kids, barred from my own damn house. I'm shaking, reading it over, thinking it's a sick joke, but it's signed by Eleanor, her scrawl taunting me like a slap. I step outside, fists clenched, and that's when I see it, a big, ugly sign slapped up at the neighborhood entrance. Visitor checkpoint, all guests must present HOA approval. It's new, gleaming in the sun, a checkpoint like I'm living in some gated prison, not a community. Neighbors slow their cars, squinting at it, and I feel the eyes, some curious, some smug, landing on me as I stand there, the guy who dared to fight back. Eleanor's not just fining me now, she's cutting me off, isolating me from the people I love most, turning my home into her battlefield. My sister's in the hospital. My parents are my rock, and she's banning them, escalating. Her attack when we're already bruised, thinking she can flex harder with Dad's investigation breathing down her neck. I'm pacing my porch, the letter crumpled in my hand, that sign glaring in the distance, and it hits me. This isn't just retaliation, it's desperation. Dad's got her cornered with fraud, corruption, legal violations stacked high, and she's lashing out, swinging wild to keep her grip. My family's not the threat. We're the symbol. She's trying to scare me silent, scare everyone silent with this checkpoint nonsense and her ban. But I'm not scared anymore. I'm livid, fueled by Lisa's cries, Dad's steady voice, and the truth we've uncovered. She thinks she's winning, barring my blood from my doorstep, but she's miscalculated. This isn't a neighborhood anymore. It's her last stand, and I'm ready to tear it down, sign, ban, and all. Standing on my porch in Willow Creek Estates, that HOA ban on my family still searing in my gut, that damn visitor checkpoint sign mocking me from the entrance. My sister's baby's fighting in the NICU, my parents are barred from my doorstep, and Eleanor Thompson's escalated this war to a level I didn't think possible. But Dad, Judge William Davis, isn't sitting still. He's been quiet since uncovering her fraud, unfiled bylaws, fake titles, Martin's kickbacks, building something big. I'm in the kitchen nursing a coffee when he walks in, phone in hand, eyes blazing. "It's done," he says, voice steady but sharp. "I called the county oversight committee, told them everything. They're moving now." Next morning, it happens. County inspectors roll up unannounced, 3 cars, suits and briefcases, pulling into the HOA office lot like a storm front. I'm watching from my yard, heart pounding as they march to the door. Eleanor's there, in a flash. Must have seen them coming, planting herself in the doorway, clipboard up like a shield. "You can't just barge in," she snaps, voice shrill, her cronies hovering behind her. The lead inspector, a guy with a no-nonsense stare, doesn't flinch. He pulls out a legal warrant, crisp and official, and holds it up. "We've got authority to investigate your finances, Mrs. Thompson," he says, calm but firm. "Step aside or we'll escalate." Her face twists, panic flickering through that smug mask. And I feel a grin tugging at me. She's cornered, and she knows it. She tries anyway, arguing, waving that clipboard. This is harassment, but the inspectors push past, warrant in hand, and start hauling out boxes, ledgers, files, everything Dad's been digging into. I'm leaning on my fence, watching her sputter, her power slipping through her fingers like sand. Dad's beside me now, arms crossed, nodding slow. They'll find it all, he says, quiet but sure. The fraud, the contracts, the forged signatures, it's over. My chest swells, not just relief, but something fiercer. She banned my family, blocked my drive, turned my home into her fiefdom. But now the county's here, tearing through. Her lies because Dad lit the fuse. Eleanor's still yelling as they load evidence into their cars, but it's noise, desperate, hollow. This isn't just my win, it's the end of her reign, and I'm damn ready to see it fall. Standing in my yard at Willow Creek Estates, watching county inspectors haul away boxes of HOA records while Eleanor Thompson flails, her warrant-defying protests fading into the wind. My dad, Judge William Davis, set this in motion, cracking open her fraud, unfiled bylaws, fake titles, Martin's landscaping racket, and now the air's electric like the whole neighborhood's waking up. I'm still reeling from her banning my family, that checkpoint sign glaring at the entrance, but something's shifting. My phone buzzes. Sam, my wiry old neighbor, texting, "Meeting at my place tonight." People are pissed. I grin, sharp, and ready. This isn't just my fight anymore, it's ours. That night, Sam's garage is packed, neighbors I've barely spoken to, faces tight with years of bottled-up gripes. Sam kicks it off, voice rough. "Eleanor's been screwing us. Forever. Fines for nothing, threats if you complained. I got hit for my truck being too loud, 200. Then Mrs. Garrett, the one Sam told me about, steps up trembling but fierce. After we fought her on that fence, she buried us. Garbage violations, landscaping fees, till we couldn't breathe. She's a bully. More chime in. Stories of intimidation, random fines, rules enforced like whims. I tell him about Lisa's labor, the SUV blocking my drive, the $500 birthday slap, and the room ignites, voices overlapping, fury spilling out. They've been silent too long, scared of her wrath, but Dad's investigation cracked the dam, and now it's flooding. Next day, the HOA board calls an emergency meeting. Eleanor, Martin Greenberg, the whole crew, trying to spin it as the county vans peel out with their secrets. I'm there, neighbors at my back, and it's a circus. Eleanor's up front, clipboard shaking, barking, "This is a misunderstanding. Everything's above board." Martin's sweating, muttering about clerical errors for his bloated contracts. Someone, Mrs. Garrett, bold now, stands and yells, "Where's the money then? My dues paid for your lawnmower, Martin." The room roars. People shouting about missing funds, pool repairs that never happened, fees that vanished. Into thin air. Eleanor tries to gavel it down, but Sam's on his feet. "You banned his family, blocked his sister in labor. What's ethical about that?" She stammers, red-faced, "Rules are rules." But it's weak, crumbling. I'm in the thick of it, feeling the tide turn, neighbors finding their spines, years of her crap boiling over. The board's floundering, no answers for the fraud Dad exposed, no defense for the intimidation we're all naming now. Eleanor's gavel bangs uselessly as the crowd surges, demanding accountability, refunds, her resignation. My house, my family, they were her target, but they've become the spark. She's not the queen anymore, she's a cornered relic, and we're the uprising tearing her down. This isn't just justice, it's a reclaiming, and I'm damn proud to be part of it. Still riding the high of that neighborhood uprising in Willow Creek Estates, neighbors finally roaring back at Eleanor Thompson and her HOA cronies after years of her bullying. The county inspectors Dad sicked on 'em are digging through the records, and I'm out front watering my lawn when Sam jogs over, eyes wide. "They found it, James. The money trail," he says breathless. "It's bad." My heart kicks up. I knew Eleanor and Martin were dirty, but this is next level. Dad's at my place in an hour, county report in hand, and we sit down. As he lays it out, hundreds of thousands of dollars in HOA funds, misallocated, siphoned, gone. Exposed raw under the investigator's spotlight. First, there's Martin Greenberg, Mr. Vice President, with his sweaty excuses at the meeting. Turns out his landscaping company, the one he's been maintaining our lawns with, got paid triple the market rate, $90 an hour for mowing when the going rate's $30. Every contract, every overpriced trim approved by Eleanor herself. Her signature scrawled across invoices like she didn't care who'd see. Dad points to the numbers. Over 2 years, that's $150,000 extra straight into Martin's pocket. My jaws tight, my dues, Sam's, the Garrett's, all funneled to line his greasy hands while Eleanor played dictator with her clipboard. Then the big one drops. $200,000 collected for a community pool, promised 3 summers back, mysteriously disappeared. I remember the flyers, shiny mock-ups of a sparkling pool, dues jacked up to fund it. And we've got nothing but a cracked tennis court to show for it. Dad flips the page. No receipts, no construction bids, just a black hole where the money vanished. They didn't even try to hide it well, he says, voice low, furious, sloppy, arrogant, thought. No one would look. I'm pacing now, seeing red $200,000 of our sweat, stolen, while Eleanor fined me for my family, blocked Lisa's ambulance, built her checkpoint empire. It's not just theft, it's betrayal. Every dollar a slap to every neighbor who trusted her. The county's report is public now, headlines brewing, and I feel it, the weight of what Dad started with that call. Martin's landscaping scam, Eleanor's rubber stamp, the pool that never was. It's all out, raw and ugly. My fight, barbecue, birthday driveway lit the match, but this is the fire, burning their whole racket down. They're not just bullies, they're thieves, and the numbers don't lie. I'm ready for what's next, court, collapse, whatever it takes, because this isn't just my home anymore. It's our victory, and they're about to pay for every cent they took. Walking into the emergency HOA meeting at Willow Creek Estates, the air thick with tension after the county's bombshell. Hundreds of thousands in misallocated funds, Martin's landscaping scam, the ghost of that $200,000 pool. My dad, Judge William Davis, is beside me, a stack of financial records under his arm, his face set like he's about to try the case of his life. The room's packed, neighbors shoulder to shoulder, Sam, the Garretts, folks I've never seen speak up, buzzing with anger after years of Eleanor Thompson's reign. She's up front, gavel in hand, Martin and the board fidgeting beside her, but the smug's gone, replaced by sweat and tight jaws. They called this meeting to explain, but Dad's here to end it. Eleanor bangs the gavel, voice shrill. Order! We'll address the county's baseless claims. But Dad cuts in, stepping forward, calm as steel. Not claims, Eleanor, facts, he says, holding up the records. The room hushes, every eye on him as he lays it out. Your husband, Robert Thompson, owns a shell company, RT Consulting, that billed the HOA $80,000 for services never rendered. No invoices, no work, just your signature funneling our money to your family. Gasps ripple. Eleanor's face goes white, her gavel frozen mid-air. Dad keeps going, flipping pages. And the board, Martin, you got $15,000 for a new deck. You paid with HOA dues. Linda, your kitchen remodel, $20,000 from us, all while fining James for his family, banning them, blocking his sister in labor. The crowd erupts, shouts, curses. Sam's on his feet. You stole from us. Mrs. Garrett's yelling, my garbage fines paid for your deck. Eleanor tries to bang order. This is slander, but it's drowned out. Dad holds up the last page, voice rising just enough to cut through. You've harassed us, intimidated us, and robbed us blind. Hundreds of thousands gone while you lived fat. That ends tonight. He steps back, and I feel it. The room's not hers anymore. It's ours. Someone, old Mr. Jenkins, stands, voice shaking but loud. I move to vote. Remove the board, all of them, now. The Garretts second it, Sam thirds, and it's chaos. Hands shooting up. I, echoing off the walls. Eleanor's screaming, you can't do this. Martin's stammering about process, but no one's listening. I'm in the thick of it, shouting my "I" with the rest, watching her gavel slip, her control shatter. The vote's a landslide, bored out, Eleanor's reign dead, and the room's alive, neighbors hugging, cursing, reclaiming what's ours. Dad nods at me, quiet pride in his eyes, and I know we didn't just win a meeting. We took our home back from their greed, and they're done, exposed, ousted, finished. In the thick of that emergency HOA meeting at Willow Creek Estates, the room still roaring from the vote to oust Eleanor Thompson and her crooked board. My dad, Judge William Davis, just dropped the hammer. Her husband's fake company, their personal upgrades, all paid with our stolen dues. The gavel's useless now, neighbors are on their feet demanding blood, and I'm riding the wave, heart pounding as Eleanor's world collapses. Then the doors swing open and it gets real. County fraud investigators stride in, 3 of them, badges glinting, faces stone cold, carrying a thick stack of papers. The crowd hushes, a collective breath held, and I know this isn't just fines or resignations anymore. It's jail time. The lead investigator steps up, voice flat but loud. Eleanor Thompson, Martin Greenberg, you're under investigation for fraud, embezzlement, and falsification of records. Charges are filed. We've got warrants. He slaps the documents on the table, hundreds of thousands misallocated. Martin's triple-rate landscaping, the $200,000 pool that never was, all laid out in black and white. Eleanor's frozen, her face a mask of shock cracking into panic, eyes darting, hands trembling as she clutches that useless clipboard. "This is outrageous!" she shrieks. But it's thin, desperate, her queen act crumbling fast. Martin's worse, red-faced, sweating buckets, muttering, "You can't prove anything," but his voice shakes, betraying him. Then he snaps. He lurches from his chair, pointing at me standing with Sam and the Garretts, and bellows, "This is your fault, Davis. You and your damn judge father. You'll pay for this." Spit flies, his finger jabs the air, and I step forward, fists clenched, ready to fire back. Lisa's labor, my band family all flashing red. But Sam grabs my arm, holds me steady. "Not worth it," he mutters. Good thing too, because Mrs. Garrett's got her phone up, recording every second of Martin's meltdown. His threats, his rage, caught live as the investigators close in. "Sit down, Mr. Greenberg," one says, hand on his shoulder, but Martin's wild yelling till his voice cracks, "I'll sue you all." Eleanor's not yelling, she's shrinking, backing toward the wall, eyes flicking to the exit like she might bolt. The crowd's alive again, shouts of "Lock 'em up" and "Thieves!" And I'm watching her panic, Martin's tantrum, the charges piling up. Mrs. Garrett's videos gold, proof of their desperation, their guilt, and I feel it. The tide's not just turned, it's a tsunami. They're not just ousted, they're facing cuffs, and we've got them dead to rights. Dad's calm beside me, nodding like he saw this coming, and I'm grinning, fierce, unbroken. They messed with my family, my home, but now they're the ones running scared, and we're the ones standing tall. Still buzzing from that wild HOA meeting at Willow Creek Estates, Dad's financial expose, the neighbors' uprising, and those county fraud investigators dropping charges on Eleanor Thompson and Martin Greenberg like a hammer. The next day, it happens. I'm out front, talking to Sam, when squad cars roll up to the HOA office. Eleanor's marched out first, hands cuffed, head down, her clipboard nowhere in sight, followed by Martin, red-faced and cursing as they shove him into the back. Fraud, embezzlement, falsified records, the whole dirty laundry list Dad uncovered. Neighbors peek from windows, some cheering, some just staring as the sirens fade. They're released on bail that afternoon. Eleanor's husband posts hers. Martin scrambles for his, but the board's cracking, their rain bleeding out fast. I'm feeling it, the weight lifting, my home starting to feel like mine again when the threats hit. I'm grabbing my mail that evening, still replaying Martin's recorded outburst. You'll pay, Davis. When I find it, another anonymous note stuffed in with the bills. Back off or your house burns next, it says, scrawled in shaky ink. No name, just menace. My stomach twists. I'm staring at my little brick ranch, the one I fought for, picturing flames licking up the walls. Then my phone buzzes. Unknown number. A text. You're not safe. Quit now. My hands shake, not from fear, but from a fury boiling over. Eleanor and Martin are out on bail, licking their wounds, and this is their desperate jab, trying to scare me silent after we've already torn them down. The board's crumbling. Linda's dodging calls, the others scrambling to distance themselves from the arrests. But these threats mean they're not done fighting dirty. Sam's over in a flash when I show him, his jaw tight. They're cornered rats, he says, lashing out because they've got nothing left. Dad's already on it, calling the sheriff, filing reports, but I'm pacing, the note crumpled in my fist. My sister's baby's still in the NICU. My family's banned legacy lingers. And now this. Arson threats to my doorstep. Eleanor and Martin might be cuffed and bailed, but their shadows still clawing at me. The HOA's falling apart, arrests, fraud, a vote to oust them, but I'm not backing off. They've lost the war. These are just their dying gasps, and I'm ready to choke them out for good. Still on edge, in Willow Creek Estates after Eleanor Thompson and Martin Greenberg's arrests, cuffed, bailed, and flailing as the HOA board crumbles. Those anonymous threats, "Your house burns next," are still rattling me. But I'm holding firm, backed by Dad, Judge William Davis, and a neighborhood ready to bury these crooks. Then the dirt gets deeper. I'm at Sam's, hashing out the latest when his phone pings. A text from Jenny, the former HOA board secretary who quit last year. "Meet me," it says. "Got something big." We're at her place in an hour, and she's pale, hands shaky, spilling a bombshell. Eleanor's got blackmail files, years of dirt on local officials. She kept them in a locked drawer, bragged about it once. I saw her update them after every fight. My gut twists. Blackmail? Sam's eyes narrow, but Dad's already thinking judge mode kicking in. "She's desperate," he says. "Out, on bail, facing charges, might try to leverage it." Sure enough, it hits fast. The new judge on her fraud case, Judge Harrow, young, sharp, gets a package days later. Word leaks through Dad's contacts. It's from Eleanor, a file stuffed with grainy photos and old emails, some petty scandal from Harrow's past with a note, "Drop this or it's public." She's not just fighting to save herself, she's swinging at the bench, trying to claw her way out with the same dirty tricks she used to rule us. But Jenny's no bystander. She'd snapped pics of those files back then. Insurance against Eleanor's wrath, and she's already tipped the sheriff. It unravels quick. The package is traced. Eleanor's prints, her courier caught on camera, and Harrow reports it stone-faced to the DA. The story breaks. Blackmail attempt on a judge, files on officials exposed, and Willow Creek's buzzing. Again, I'm at Dad's, watching him shake his head, half amazed, half disgusted. She thought she could bully her way free, he says, but she's just dug deeper. Jenny's leak, photos of Eleanor's stash, hits the county, and investigators swarm her place, hauling out boxes of dirt she can't deny. Martin's silent now, bailed and broken, but Eleanor's scheme's blown wide open. Her last play, a panicked grab at power, reported and ruined. My threats, Lisa's labor, the fines, it's all tied to this, her web of control snapping thread by thread. She's not just losing, she's sinking, and we're the ones pulling the plug. Still standing tall in Willow Creek Estates as Eleanor Thompson's world implodes. Arrested, bailed, her blackmail flop against Judge Harrow backfiring hard. The HOA's a husk now. Martin's a ghost, the board's scattered, and Dad's investigation has her pinned with fraud, embezzlement, and that failed stunt. I'm at home, scrolling the latest, Jenny's leak of those files lighting up the news, when Dad calls, voice tight. She's flipping, James. Eleanor's cutting. A deal. My heart skips. She's facing prison, years behind bars, and now she's clawing for a lifeline. Next day, it's official. She's offered to testify, spilling everything for immunity, throwing everyone under the bus to save her own skin. She sits with the DA, and it pours out. A decade-long scheme, uglier than we imagined. Developers, bribing HOA officials, Eleanor at the helm, hundreds of thousands to push through shoddy projects, skirt codes, line their pockets. She names names, dates, dollar amounts, big shots who built half this neighborhood, greasing her palm to keep it quiet. Then the inspection reports, faked everyone. Roofs leaking, foundations cracking, she admits. We wrote all clear for cash. My jaw's on the floor. My house, Sam's, the Garrett's. We're living in her lies. And the kickbacks, county inspectors, the same ones who ignored her mess, pocketing bribes to look the other way while she fined us for barbecues and banned my family. I'm pacing, Dad beside me as the news breaks. Eleanor's testimony tearing open a web that's been choking Willow Creek for years. Martin's done. Implicated, no immunity for him. Developers scrambling, inspectors suspended. She's ratting them all out, her voice cold on the stand, detailing every dirty deal like she's proud of it, just to dodge the cell. My sister's labor, those threats, the checkpoint sign, it's all crumbs compared to this. A decade of greed. Built on our dues, our trust. Neighbors are stunned. Sam's cursing, Mrs. Garrett's crying, but I feel it, a bitter victory. She's betrayed everyone, her board, her cronies, us, to save herself, and it's cracking the whole rotten system wide open. Dad's steady, nodding. She's finished 'em, he says, but she's finished too. Nobody trusts a snake. I'm not cheering yet, just watching, waiting, as her empire burns with her own match. Standing in the aftermath of Willow Creek Estate's implosion, Eleanor Thompson's betrayal still ringing in my ears. Her immunity deal spilling a decade of bribes, fake reports, and kickbacks that gutted our neighborhood. Dad, Judge William Davis, lit the fuse, and now it's Judgment Day. I'm in the courtroom packed with neighbors, Sam, the Garretts, Jenny, watching as Eleanor's led in. No clipboard, no smirk, just a hollow shell in an orange jumpsuit. The judge, Harrow, the one she tried to blackmail, reads the sentence, Eleanor Thompson for fraud, embezzlement, and extortion, 7 years in prison. No immunity could erase that. She flipped, but her hands were too dirty. She doesn't look up as they cuff her, just shuffles out, a fallen tyrant finally cut down. Martin's next, no deal for him. He's sweating, wild-eyed, facing fraud. Charges with 3 other board members, Linda, the kitchen remodel queen, and the rest who gorged on our dues. The gavel bangs. Martin gets 5 years, the others 2 to 4, guilty of siphoning hundreds of thousands. His landscaping scam, their home upgrades, all laid bare. The crowd murmurs. Sam claps my shoulder. Mrs. Garrett wipes tears. And I feel it, a weight lifting. Out there, corrupt county inspectors, those bribe-taking enablers, are resigning in disgrace, names splashed across headlines, careers torched by Eleanor's testimony. It's a clean sweep, top to bottom, the whole rotten chain collapsing under Dad's spark and our fight. Then the real win lands. The DA recovers the stolen funds, $400,000 clawed back from bank accounts, developer settlements, liquidated assets, and it's coming home. I'm at a community meeting, new board in place, when they announce it. The money's ours again, earmarked for fixes, new roofs for the leaky ones, a real pool this time, not a ghost. My yard's quiet now, no checkpoint sign, no threats. And Lisa's baby girl's home from the NICU, tiny but strong. I'm flipping burgers again, family unbanned, Dad telling bad jokes, and it hits me. This is what we fought for. Eleanor's in a cell, Martin's locked up, the crooks are out, and our money's rebuilding what they broke. Justice isn't just served, it's ours, hard-won and sweet, and Willow Creek's finally home again. Standing in the rebuilt heart of Willow Creek Estates, The dust of Eleanor Thompson's reign settled. 7 years in prison for her, 5 for Martin, the corrupt board sentenced, and our stolen $400,000 back where it belongs. The old HOAs. Ashes are cold and the neighborhood's alive again. Neighbors stepping up, voices loud after years of silence. They call a meeting to start fresh and I'm there, not expecting much, just glad to see us free. Then Sam stands, points at me and says, "James should lead, fought for us when no one else would." The room nods, hands rise, and suddenly, I'm elected HOA president. Me, the guy who just wanted a barbecue with his family. I take it, voice steady, promising one thing: transparency, every dime, every rule, out in the open, no more shadows. First order of business? That damn visitor policy, Eleanor's 72-hour nonsense that fined me for mom and dad, banned. Lisa during her labor. I grab the pen myself, rewrite it clean. All families welcome anytime. No forms, no fines, just doors open the way it should have been. It passes unanimous, cheers echoing, and I feel it. My home's mine again, ours again. Weeks later, the recovered funds finish the job. Leaky roofs, patched, cracked drives fixed, and there it is. A new community pool, sparkling blue, real this time, not a $200,000 lie. I'm standing by it now, watching my nieces and nephews splash. Their laughter bouncing off the water, Lisa's baby girl safe at home, my parents grilling nearby, unbanned and unbroken. I lean on the fence, sun warm on my face, and think back. One small abuse, Eleanor crashing my barbecue, sparked it all. That petty power trip cracked open a decade of corruption, bribes, kickbacks, fraud, buried under her clipboard. Standing, up for what's right with Dad's steel and our voices, changed everything, tore down her empire, sent her to prison, gave us this. My nieces dive in, fearless, and I know, no one's above the law, not developers, not inspectors, not even an HOA. We proved it, fought it, won it. This pool, this day, this peace, it's ours. Built from the ashes of her greed, and I'm damn proud to lead us into what's next.